Hello, everyone, and welcome to Geeky Geezers. I am your host, Aged Boomer. This is my co-host, PaPa Pacelli.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. You got to say it loud, right?
Happy New Year.
It will be a Happy New Year, hopefully. Hopefully it'll be better than 2022, because...
Was
how was
2022 better than 2021 and 2020?
How was your 2022?
It wasn't horrible, but...
Was it better than 21, I guess, because maybe fewer mandates in your area, maybe?
Maybe, yeah. But you watch the news too much and you just get depressed. And let's face it, doing what we do here, looking at, the entertainment industry and stuff, that's been pretty damn depressing too. We'll talk more about that as we look ahead to next year too.
We're going to be on we'll get to it. I'm not going to spill my beans just yet. But let me say, hi, Nanette. She's in the background.
Yes, she is.
Hi, Netter. Okay. Chris P.
Remember, she's on the 30-second delay though, so she'll
that's why she doesn't even hear me. Okay.
And then you'll.
There we go.
There you go. I told you.
Chris P. Welcome. Good evening, gents. Happy New Year. Have a great stream. I'll have to catch the replay later. Well, okay. Well, we're gonna have some interesting things to say. Hopefully.
Yep.
Deleted scenes. A nice clap. Thank you. Hail the chat. Whenever I think of Hail, I think of the end of Evil Dead 2. You ever see Evil Dead 2?
Hail to the chief, baby.
Yeah.
Or Hail to the king, baby.
And there was Army of Darkness at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
It leads right in Army of Darkness. That's an unsung trilogy, the Evil Dead trilogy. I think.
Absolutely.
A new year with the same old Geeky Geezer mojo to get through another year. Giddy up, y'all. This is where the fun begins, hopefully. Thank you, David Pensack. And again, thank you, Internet, for the hi, sweetie. Let's keep going down the list. Who else is in tonight? Believe I saw Rosefire in here.
Mm-hmm. Madanu.
And let me see, Daniel Heron, welcome. Glad to find that you got home safe the other night.
And Birdman, before you leave, let us know if you got anything coming up this week.
Do you have a Batman show tomorrow? Do you have a I don't know if we're doing anything Wednesday or not, or you could always let me know. But
yes.
Yeah, cool. Greetings to all. You know what I was thinking he and I have to do a rewatch of sometime this year? Dick Tracy.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Dick Tracy? This is going to turn into a good old days. Maybe we'll save that for another night.
I'll tell you, what I need to do is I need to not only rewatch Dick Tracy, but when I do so, I got to open up IMDb and see who all those people are. Because there were a lot of stars in there that I just did not recognize.
Because they were all in that makeup jobs. Like Flat Top was William Forsythe. I love William Forsythe. He's great as a gangster. I wish they'd use him
Never
more.
would have guessed that was William Forsythe.
He played Al Capone on the Untouchables television series.
But let me tell you something. What I loved about that was, we talk a lot on this channel and on my channel and all the channels you guys follow about honoring the source material.
Mm-hmm.
They really did. They wanted to make it look like a live action version of the cartoon. But what they did was that uncanny valley, and I think intentionally so,
yes,
of what you often see, like you'll see people do artwork where they take like Bart Simpson and Homer Simpson and make them photorealistic, but with the yellow skin and with the oddities of their characters. That's kind of what Dick Tracy was, and I'm like, there's someone that's at least really paying attention to the source material.
Do you know what's neat about the movie? It's almost like if you see a criminal and then you're trying to describe him to the police, and like what you. Well, I don't want to say that because obviously they don't necessarily draw caricatures in police stations. They try to go.
And sometimes
that's how you imagine the criminal to look, even though he probably looks more like a regular person. You know,
sometimes sometimes the funniest movies, that do parodies of that, have somebody giving a detailed description and then they show what the guy's drawn, and sure enough, it's everything they said, but it's completely not at all what the actual person looked like, and usually it's something very, very humorous.
Of course.
But I'll tell you, we'll consider this kind of our little good old days.
Fine.
Dick Tracy. So you know that one of the things about my channel, even though I haven't really solidified any one, element for my brand, but I do a lot of things dealing with toys on my channel. And I think Dick Tracy is the first toy line that I remember. It's probably not the first to do this, but it's the first that I remember where if you were paying attention to the toys in the lead up to the movie coming out, it was the first time that the toys spoiled the ending of the movie. Because the whole mystery is who is the villain, right?
88 keys.
And the toy and the way it was packaged was very obvious who it was, and it just completely ruined it. That's if you were paying attention to the toys. If not, you know.
Yeah. Good.
No spoiler warning there on those toys. And you'll hear a lot of people talk about spoilers for movies because of the toys. Now, the other side of that, you'll hear a lot of people talk about toys that don't get made or toys that don't hit the shelves in any reasonable amount of time. Why? Because they would have been a spoiler if the toy company had put them out in the lead up to the movie.
Right.
So they don't, but then they really miss the arc on the best time to get those toys out. So
it'd be interesting if maybe instead what you should do is you make 88 keys a mail-in figure, like, you know what I mean? Had it been that instead, you buy 5 Dick Tracy figures.
You're making too much sense. You're thinking too much here. You're putting in more thought than these toy companies do. You know what you sound like? You're the one who should be the real toy guru, not the one that calls himself a toy guru. You actually should be a toy guru because you actually think business and marketing.
Well, I'm just thinking, what's the way to make everybody happy, and that was what Big was about. And that way I switch gears to Big. But remember, that was the whole thing when, like, he was a child and he was explaining to the exec, why did they change this toy a year later? We liked it better the old way. And he's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And he says, I don't know why we did it that way either.
I one company I worked at, which has nothing to do with toys, but let's face it, all businesses have certain basic Econ 101 things in common, right? Uh-huh. And one of the trainers for this company said, look, here's what it comes down to. You guys are going to be dealing with the customers. You're going to be wanting to look out for the company's best interest, but you also want to look out for the customer's best interest. Where those two meet, if it's good for the customer and it's good for the company, it's good, right? Now, it's a balancing act when the two are in opposition. You don't want to give away the farm. That doesn't help the company. And in the long run, doesn't really help out the customer. Right? But you also don't want to be a skinflint and always pissing off the customer, because that's in the long run not good for the company either. No. And I was like, that just sounds too logical. And I think too many people in business lose sight of that too. It's a very simple, very basic premise. Happy customer means continued profits, right?
It was a balance thing on a certain television show called The Apprentice. When the people had their little tasks to do, you would realize how they messed up. They would either do price pointing too high or too low. Do you understand? Yeah. Too low that they won't make a profit. Too high that
and here's just within the past couple weeks, Retroblasting had a great video about the finances over at Hasbro and how they've really the prices of the toys have just shot so high. Now, one side of it is you could argue, well, look, the price of eggs has doubled, in the past couple months, I mean, and so there's, just inflation in general. But it's like, yeah, but we're also talking about toys that people don't need to live. When you start spending twice as much on eggs and milk, you start spending less on toys. Yeah. And here's what it comes down to. The capitalist concept is you charge an item is worth exactly what people are willing to pay for it, right? And they will inflate the price as high as they can get away with. But as a company, do you want to sell 1,000 widgets for $1 or one widget for $1,000? Now, the current model is I want to sell one widget for $1,000. That's great. You piss off that one customer and you're broke.
Yeah.
You know, it's the whole not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
You spread it out, a bunch more things for cheaper. You have a bigger customer base. You know? Now, those are extremes, okay? We're not talking about the difference of $1 and $1,000. We're talking about $10 to $20, but it's still the same concept. And I think Hasbro, we're going to be talking about predictions for the year. One of my pre-predictions for the toy industry in general, Hasbro in particular, is they're going to learn this lesson, if not this year, then the next year, and they're going to learn it the hard way.
I think so. I think people are going to be hitting hard times, but we'll see. I just want to get through Happy New Year, Geezers. Welcome, Big Al.
Yep.
And Rosefire. Shalom and good evening to everybody. Shalom to you. I hope you had a good Christmas weekend and New Year's Eve. Not bad. New Year's Day, though, I was spent... My late father, I loved him to death, but there wasn't a paint can he would throw out. Okay.
And the problem with that is also depending on where you store it. You know, you have the temperature differentials and stuff.
Yep.
And then, well, look.
We got to figure out what to do with these things. Obviously, there's probably a place you can take them to.
It's very simple. You shake the can. If you can't hear the rattling ball, it's no good. Right there.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean it is good if you can hear it rattling. I'm just saying that's the starting point.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do have to be careful how you dispose of that stuff.
Yeah, it's toxic.
You don't want to get caught.
No. Well, no. We'll do the official thing. You know, I'll do research on what to do. But yeah, we haven't gotten rid of them. Yeah. I was going to retire early tonight, but then I thought of the critical drinker. Now I'll be fine. Oh, he was funny.
It'll be fine. Speaking of the critical drinker, you didn't ask me what I'm sipping on, but you probably know. I'm getting down to the bottom of the bottle on that hot buttered rum that I made. I think, was it last year or the year before? I'm finishing that bottle off by the end of winter, though, so I can make another one for next year.
I should have drunk something tonight for night stream. I actually got a surprise gift, so along those lines, I'll save it for a good Friday, for a decent Friday. But let me just say hi to everybody. Matanui, welcome. I'm currently busy with Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I hear that so many people Assassin's Creed Black Flag because you get to play as a pirate. People like.
And we were just saying last night, or was it the night before? Everything's better with pirates
or ninjas.
Or ninjas or pirates.
I like.
And yes, I understand ninjas. If you say ninjas / samurai, I'll accept that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's a big Chick Tracy fan. I have to tell you, it's a good movie. It holds up very well. It has a wonderful cast. Al Pacino.
Yeah.
As Big Boy Caprice. You have a lot of actors in that. Even Madonna did good. You know. In that movie, don't you think?
I honestly said that after seeing her in that, she really did have the potential to really push her acting career. I think she had great ambitions, poor strategy for a lot of the things she did. Unfortunately, she went, for as hardworking as she has been through her career, I'm not taking that away from her, she was kind of lazy in the self-promotion. She focused on the smut. You know, sex sells. It absolutely does. But that's a very short-sighted way of marketing yourself, right? That would have been like if Arnold Schwarzenegger had always capitalized on being a muscle man. You know, he never would have gotten most of the acting roles he did. He certainly wouldn't have gone into politics. It's, you know, you need to do more.
Branch out from that. Yeah. Oh, this was funny. Toy Talk, we'll be getting Troy versus Matt Walsh rant on the stream. Pops talked about that a few weeks back.
What was this about Matt Walsh?
Complaining about adult men that collect toys.
Matt Walsh is really starting to piss off a lot of people. He's dividing his fan base.
I know.
He needs to talking about how you market yourself. He needs to kind of stay in his own lane. He's talking about a bunch of shit he doesn't know about. And he's pissing off people he doesn't need to piss off. Yeah,
Pops talked about it. He had a good. If you check out Pop's show, he's got a good clip.
I will. There's so many people that I follow. I can't keep up with everybody, but yeah, I'll look into that.
Yeah, I'd mentioned that video games get talked about in the same light too. It's like, they always compare them to the thing that starts with that rhymes with born. It's not the same thing. It's
But you know what? Even if it was, right? Everybody's got their thing. I'm sure Matt Walsh has some sort of habit or
yes.
indulgence that if I knew about it, I could pick on it.
Yeah.
Just mind your own damn business. I'm not doing anything that hurts anybody, right? That's exploiting anyone. Well, I guess you could say the prawn could be looked at that way, right? But you're right. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about playing a game. Now, what's the difference if it's Dungeons and Dragons, Grand Theft Auto, or football? And I'm not talking about going out and playing football and, getting some exercise and some fresh air. I'm talking about all the people out there that follow professional sports, armchair quarterbacks who sit in their chair and munch on snacks. Not belittling that. I can understand the fun behind that, but really, what is the difference?
See, Matt Walsh is just a stick in the mud. Yes. I don't know. Lately, I don't know. You got to have some fun every now and then, and I think
if he would just stick to
stick to the politics.
The politics and the conservatism and his what was it? Who is a woman or what is a woman and stuff like that.
He does good work out there. It's just when he does stuff like this, it's.
But anyway, and then he just pisses off half of his audience, like I said. In fact, on the other side, let's give a positive side to this, right? I was mentioning this on Friday. I just saw Nina Infinity's stream from earlier in the week where she interviewed Robert Barnes, right? So she's. Nina Infinity is a YouTuber in the general sphere of, Midnight's Edge, Toxic Femme, all of them. And she has on Robert Barnes, whom I also follow, who talks all the politics and the, I guess you'd consider him to be extremely conservative, although he's definitely, I don't want to say centrist, but he's sharp thinking, right? So he's critical of a lot of the neocons, right? And he's got some very wise opinions that don't fit into the typical conservative mentality. Like here in Chicago, a lot of people are losing their shit over the idea of getting away from cashless bail, right? And mostly conservatives are upset about that. But Robert Barnes made a point about that made me completely change my opinion about it. He said, how is bail fair? At all. If you're rich, you can afford to pay it. If you're poor, you sit in jail. Look at the January 6th people. Right?
Yeah.
And
different
the
standards.
Whole point of bail was always historically supposed to be if you are some sort of a flight risk. Right? Really, it should be applied to the rich, right? Who have the money to get on a private plane and fly to Buenos Aires or whatever it is, right? But it's not. It's the other way around.
That reminds me of a scene out of Night Falls on Manhattan when the one guy he's playing a starting up DA and he and the judge sets bail at $60. He's like $60. Like, oh, come on! To her, $60 is like $600 because I guess she was like a woman of the street, And I thought that was interesting.
No, that's an excellent point.
Yeah, Andy Garcia was in that. Yeah,
and there is no way you can find fairness in you can't set a dollar value on a crime, And here's the other thing. This is, man, from a legal standpoint, you are putting someone in jail and holding them either without bond or with some crazy bond or whatever, taking their money when you haven't even convicted them of anything. There has been no due process yet. I don't care if they were caught in the act of doing it. They have not been through due process. The foundation of our freedoms in this country are you do not take away freedoms without due process.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that is a truly conservative way of looking at things.
Well, due
Anyway,
process shouldn't even be a political. Both sides of the aisle should be on
absolutely,
board.
absolutely. But unfortunately, it is. Anyway, I bring that up because to see Robert Barnes on with Nina Infinity, I was like, man, this is awesome.
Haven't
But I don't
seen.
think I'm going to see Matt Walsh on Geeks and Gamers anytime soon.
Probably not. I have to tell you. I remember Adam Baldwin during the whole something gate fiasco thing that was going on. There were members of the thing that were they were trying to get Adam Baldwin to talk to Greg Gutfeld to get him involved, but
Yeah.
no, they stood behind. You see, the trouble is that there are certain aspects of that side of the media when the leftists were coming into our hobbies, like the far left, and trying to take over, that we were needing some help, and they just
you mean
they just didn't understand the hobby.
Yeah. You mean the games? You mean the woke crap in our movies and the forced diversity and the yeah. The Polacks need not apply in a Polish based mythology film. Yeah, exactly.
This has been a terrible year for television. Tulsa King and Tokyo Vice notwithstanding, and I do need to eventually watch Yellowstone. I know that people rave about that show, but just there's been some.
My mom is kind of
series.
annoyed with me for not having watched that. To be
I need to just sit down and start it. It's one of these things where I didn't start it from the beginning, so I'm like, oh, I'm late to the party, but I think I need to finally settle down and just start watching it. But should we just dive right into our? Do you want to start with the winner of 2022? Do you have a winner?
Actually, if you don't mind, I know we didn't.
You want to do loser first? We don't have to start with.
I'm not sure this really constitutes a loser, but we always start our show with the people we lost, in the week.
Oh yeah, we can do that in remembrance. Yeah.
And there have been a lot this year, and I was saying this on Friday. It was a blow for politics. It was bad for the entertainment industry in general. But I just felt it harshest this year for music. And just looking back, in no particular order, and this is not an exhaustive list by any means, Irene Cara, Jerry Lee Lewis, Loretta Lynn, Olivia Newton-John, Naomi Judd, Bobby Rydell, Meatloaf, Christine McVie, Coolio, Vangelis, Angelo Badalamenti, and Julie Cruz. And of those, more than a few, far too many, self-deletions.
Awful. Yeah, the gentleman that played the Green Ranger on Power Rangers. I think we talked about him a little while back.
Yep. And two that we haven't mentioned because they just happened in the past 48 hours: Barbara Walters and Pope Benedict the 16th.
Yes, the other pope, but that's opening a whole other can of worms. Like how there are two popes at the same time, but whatever.
Not being Catholic. When I mentioned it yesterday, Nanette was like, "Oh, I don't remember any popes after Pope John Paul II." I said, "As far as I'm concerned, there haven't been any popes since Pope John Paul II."
Well, the problem is
that, I probably just pissed off every Catholic in the group.
No, it's a tricky situation. I'm Catholic as well. It's just it's been very. I'll be good tonight. We'll get me drunk sometime.
Well, we've already started talking politics. Now I'm starting in on religion.
No. I'll mention.
I'm halfway through my hot buttered rum, so that should tell you where we're at.
But what did I want to mention though? But yeah, a lot of people
Kirstie
died
Alley,
Kirstie Alley.
Gallagher.
Who affected me? Gallagher got me upset.
Angela Lansbury.
Who was the same night as Gallagher? It was somebody else that I got upset over. It wasn't Gallagher, though.
Let's see. He died on the 11th. I don't know anyone else who died on that day.
Never mind. There was somebody else that week.
Queen Elizabeth, obviously.
Now, I guess it's God Save the Queen. A king now, isn't it?
Yeah. Anne Heche, another self-deletion.
We never talked about Anne Heche. I remember the weekend it happened. I think we had
clearly too much going up. She had some very serious.
Did she destroy someone's house in the process of her death?
It was very.
Luckily, nobody else got killed. I mean, geez.
It was very grisly. I certainly don't want to discuss the details of that. It was nightmarish the way she died. Nichelle Nichols, Tony Dow, Paul Sorvino, Ivana Trump, Larry Storch, whom I share a birthday with, James Caan, Ray Liotta.
Yeah, Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah.
Kevin Conroy, that was the one. That was the one.
Conroy, right,
yeah, the voice of Batman.
Oh, and I just yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before, the Blu-ray set of the Batman animated series came in for me.
That is a great, and I don't know what you paid for it, but you get a lot of bang for your buck in that set. This is what you get in the set. You get the complete. You want to know what order to watch these things, and not that you have to watch them in order, because you could always.
Should I watch them in the order that they are in the Blu-ray set?
Here's what it is. You have Batman the Animated Series Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, then you have Mask of the Phantasm, the movie, and then Sub-Zero, the movie. Then you have Batman.
Oh, seriously? Those came in the Blu-ray?
You get the movies, too. You get the 2 movies.
That will take up so much less room on my shelf then.
Yeah.
I can get rid of those.
Double check, make sure they're there, but yeah, you should have them in the set.
Yeah.
The other one, you don't get the Mystery of the Batwoman. They didn't include that one for some reason. You also get Batman Volume 4. Now, Batman Volume 4 was also known as The New Adventures of Batman. That took place concurrently with Superman the Animated Series.
Oh, good.
If you want to go ahead and watch it, go ahead. But I'm just saying it there may be a couple little nods to episodes of Superman that you didn't quite see.
I know that there's there are like web pages that go through the whole animated, all the animated universe and what a good watch order is if you want to watch them chronologically.
You don't have to, though. Like I said, when you were watching things on regular TV, you watched them when you could watch them.
True, but the benefit of owning the physical media is that you can watch them.
Look, you're all set for the first 3 volumes, okay? And that's a lot of episodes. It's almost 80 episodes.
I would not have wanted to watch Empire Strikes Back before I saw Star Wars.
True.
I mean, and I'm sure a lot of people did, you know.
I watched Return of the Jedi before I watched Empire. Did you know that?
Oh, crap.
Here's what happened when I was a kid. They had the original Star Wars on TV on Showtime, and I recorded and watched it. And then we were going to see Return of the Jedi. And I was familiar with Empire because I think maybe I got dragged to the theater when I was 3 years old to see it. But when you're 3, what are you going to remember from when you're 3?
Right.
And I had storybooks, and I would read the storybooks, so I had some idea of what Empire was about, but I don't think I'd consciously seen the full movie till a couple of years after I'd seen Jedi. What can you do? That's how it works sometimes.
I got to tell you, we people talk about, this whole concept of the Mandela effect and stuff like that. And I think a lot of all of that is predicated on just faulty memory, right? And the younger you are, the foggier those memories are, right? And you got to remember, the first time I saw Star Wars, 1977, that's the year it came out. I saw it at the drive-in with my uncle.
Wow.
And I remember it very differently than the more detailed rewatches of it subsequently. Let's face it, a lot of that has to do with, it was re-released and there were some changes made. Then there was the special editions, big changes made, and there have been more and more changes McClunky ever since. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, and I, being a diehard fan and digging into it, know why I misremember it. Like, for example, I remember Biggs and the Tashi Station and all that. Not because it was actually in the movie, not because we had access to DVD extras, but because, of course, once you saw the movie, the only way you could continue to relive it is A, the toys, and B, things like the Scholastic, the novelization and the Scholastic storybook that you got in school back then. Did you guys have Scholastic readers where you'd get the little sheet and you'd buy the book?
Yes, I remember I got some Narnia books that way.
Yeah.
Scary stories to tell in the dark. And
really what it was if I I don't know the details. I've never read into it, but I always got the impression it was some sort of a government, funded kickback to the publishing companies for you take your overstock and donate it to the schools and make some bucks off it, and kids would spend their pocket money. And that's how I got all the storybooks for Star Wars and so forth. Well, the storybook had not illustrations; they were photographs that were stills from elements that didn't make it into Star Wars. And one of those was Luke and Biggs at Tashi Station.
Yeah.
So and it's part of the story when you read it, and I just kind of projected that into my memories of the movie, and I think a lot of kids from my generation did. And but so yeah, that's how that particular Mandela effect. But honestly, there's one little Mandela that I have in my memory about Star Wars that I have not been able to explain from anything. So in Star Wars, there's the Dejarik scene in the Millennium Falcon where C-3PO and Chewbacca are playing the holographic chess, right? R2's playing, and Chewbacca gets upset, and C-3PO says, "It was a fair move. Screaming about it can't help you." And Han Solo says, "My advice, never argue with a Wookiee." "Well, no one's ever concerned about upsetting a droid." "Yeah, but droids don't rip your arms out of their sockets when they win." And he turns, C-3PO turns to R2 and says, "I suggest a new strategy, R2. Let the Wookiee win."
Oh,
that's where it ends. But in my 7-year-old memory, I remember a line after that. There was a follow-up. There was, "Let the Wookiee win." And then I don't remember what it was, but I remember him saying something else, like, "We can get him back later," or something. I don't remember. I feel like they cut off that sentence there.
It's possible they did.
But I've never heard anyone else with that memory. No one else is, with all the YouTube videos out there about, deleted scenes and, 3 different versions of the arm getting cut off in the cantina, no talk about that particular line. And I don't see anything in the novelization, in original scripts that I've seen, so I don't even know. That could just be faulty memory, confabulation.
It could be. Like I said, I'm still struggling with a scene from Iron Man 3, which I know was in there, and I don't know if I just keep missing it on rewatches or if it was never in the theatrical version, but that's a story for another time. But welcome, Wakakashi Sea House.
Hey, yeah. So it's almost probably the second year or day of the year over where you're at.
I hear that New Year's is a huge deal in Japan. New Year's Day, it's a major holiday over there.
But in Japan, do they follow the Gregorian calendar?
They must, because I know. Funny because I was watching a video about a guy living in Japan. He was talking about the KFC Christmas, and he was saying,
yeah,
because Christmas is not like a national holiday. I mean, people celebrate it over there, but it's not like something you get time off from work for. So if you want, you can just take you have to schedule the day off. But New Year's you do, and apparently it's a huge. I mean, he'd know more about it than I do since he lives there. But I'm just
sure. I'd love to hear more about that, but yeah, I mean, but now that I think about it, it makes perfect sense, right? Because they have business relationship. Yeah, yes, New Year's is like Christmas is here.
It's never wise to upset a Wookiee.
Right. It's never wise to upset a Wookiee.
Would that be the line that followed what you thought?
No. That's what Han Solo says. But now that I think about it, even if in Japan they have a different calendar, they probably follow the Western calendar because of all the business ties. Business pretty much runs. Their annual cycle is based on the business, and their business is pretty much global. So.
Yeah, he says New Year is like Christmas in the West, so that's like their Christmas over there.
Right. I mean, there's like gift giving and stuff related to it, if I remember.
It's a huge deal. The one guy said if you're over there, you got to get money out of the ATM before New Year's, or else you're not going to get any money out of the ATM. Because I guess people would draw all the money out because they're going all over doing a lot of traveling and stuff. It's Oh, what is this? Got it. Get off now. Internal clock ready to call night. I've been there. I know how it is. But yeah, catch the rewatch. Leave a comment. I'll try to respond. Wishing everyone well. Have a wonderful 2023. Have a good night. Yeah, but yeah, same to you, Rosefire. But yeah, we lost, and it's January 2nd over there.
Yeah, 11:35. Yeah,
it's 11:35 in the morning.
Yeah.
Cool.
So he's probably I was gonna say he's just getting up, but it's.
You could have lunch. You could have lunch.
He's
soon.
Probably been up for a while now. It's coming up on lunchtime there. Yeah.
They have good food in Japan.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway,
even the.
So I have heard, at least.
I was gonna say even the American knockoff, Japanese food is still pretty good. So I can imagine how good it is over in Japan.
Did I tell you that a coworker of mine, as a gift, she got me a box? You can get a box of Japanese snacks, like their junk food.
Yes, yeah,
and you can buy them on like Amazon, other places.
I've actually seen some YouTubers are sponsored by that company. Yeah.
Oh, really? Interesting. Mm-hmm. It's wonderful because some things I don't get at all, and other things I'm like, why don't we think of this? Like I told you there was one that it was like a Cheeto, but it was flavored like buttered corn. Brilliant! It's like a corn crisp-thing, but it's flavored like buttered corn.
We do have like popcorn or buttered flavored cheese puffs, just not Cheetos brand. There are other
really we do.
Yes, we do. Yeah,
I'll have to hunt those down.
Mostly I guess you got to call them the off brands. But yeah, look in your grocery store and look around the corn puffs and stuff like that. You might find them.
Selection at my local stores are not great lately, though. We do at least get that Nolan's brand of chips lately. Zaps, I think they're called.
Oh, okay.
All right, but so anyway, you want to do your winner of the year, or should I go first?
I'm gonna let you go first because you're probably gonna say the same thing I'm thinking.
Okay, winner of the year, Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, that was my first thought. Yeah, and I haven't even seen it. Right? I haven't even seen it.
Okay, now. We may have different reasons. One, I think, for starters, I think Top Gun Maverick actually saved theaters. They're like, people want to go out and go to the movies and sit down for a couple hours and pay the big bucks to see a movie on the big screen. And there were other hits this year. I think Sonic 2 did pretty good when it came out, another Paramount movie. But it was Top Gun Maverick. That was the big hit this year. I saw it. It's the best sequel you could ever hope to get to Top Gun. If you wanted a sequel to Top Gun, here it is. And it was just a good experience. And no preaching in it, except maybe the preaching. If there's a message in it, maybe forgive yourself. In case of Maverick, I would argue he never did anything wrong to begin with. It's just he's still blaming himself for Goose's death, all these years later. But I don't want to spoil the rest of the movie. It's got good action, good. Mm-hmm.
That in and of itself is a great story element, right?
Yeah.
Where most of the, I don't know, if the characters in the movie would all agree, but I think most of the audience agrees. Not your fault. Not your fault. Why are you holding yourself responsible?
The only one who blames himself is Maverick. Nobody else.
Yeah.
Not even. Yeah.
And that is a very positive, very heroic, very noble a character trait, right? You take the greater burden on yourself. That is a hero. That is a noble person, right? Whereas, just from a narrative standpoint, the dick that doesn't take responsibility for anything, it's like, it's dog eat dog, too damn bad. The Colonel Jessups, right?
Yeah.
They're the villains, right?
Yeah.
But no, we live in an era where we want to live our truth. Maybe I'm kind of alluding to the losers of.
You can't handle the truth. Yes. Anyway.
You can't handle the truth. See, unfortunately, the winners that I would choose are really. They were the films that were released at the end of 2021. Now, you could argue that they were still in the box office come January, right? I'm thinking Dune, Denis Villeneuve's Dune, and Ghostbuster Afterlife. They were huge, and they had an even bigger burden because they were coming out at the end of 2021 when there was still talk about maybe we should still be locked down, and they said, fuck it, we're going, and they did awesome despite, if any films could say, well, it was the pandemic, it was killed by Dune and Ghostbuster Afterlife. That put an end to it. And they said, that's done. That is no longer an excuse. But keep that in mind, because that's going to come back in my prediction for 2023.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because Maverick was originally supposed to come out around the same time as Ghostbusters Afterlife. Did you know that? And they
I did,
and postponed it. And I remember at the time I was complaining. I said, Paramount, you're losing money on this thing. And I was angry with Maverick because there's the whole controversy of them changing the flags on the back of his jacket in the trailer, and they did do that in the trailer. In the movie, though, I looked in the theater just because I'd heard things online. No, they did not kowtown to a certain country.
Yeah.
and they actually left it alone, and they went back, and that's all I ask.
And that also ties into my prediction for the future. I think that a lot of people in the movie industry are starting to see that their acquiescence to China and their globalist, mentality and the wokeness is not a formula for success. So they're starting to get their head straight on that kind of stuff. And, it's always going to be the people of strong character. And don't misread me on that. I'm not, deifying Tom Cruise here, okay? But let's face it, he's a strong personality, and he doesn't give two fucks what people think about him. It's people like that are going to make the right choices. Even when, like you said, you and I both thought this was a dumb, you got to get it out there. You're losing money. But I think he held off. It was right. Maybe if Dune and I was pissed off about Afterlife being put off as long as it was. Mm-hmm. And I think it was put off even by another month towards the end. And I was like, what the hell,
We were expected to be out for Halloween, right? Remember, it'd be a good Halloween.
Exactly. And they went to November on that one. And I think it was a good call. I don't think it was a bad call. But Dune, I think might have done better. Maybe waiting a little longer, waiting until 20.
Dune got hurt also by Jason Kilar and The Day and Date. And to be fair, Legendary got furious about that because they weren't included in on that, and I guess they got overridden because they were it's kind of like how Tom Cruise's company Skydance, they work with Paramount, but they're sort of also independent from Paramount, you know what I mean? Paramount just works with them. Same thing goes at Legendary. That's why Legendary, I think, is trying to break free from Warner Brothers right now because they are angry
and what you just hit on, I know we're kind of going out of order here, but because you brought it up, I want to mention it. That's kind of my general loser for 2022. Is not specifically that, but in general, the continued day and date pushing of the streaming services. The whole business model behind the streaming service has been a clusterfuck for the entire industry. And I think they are learning a very valuable lesson from that. Disney has learned it well. Whether
I don't know that Disney. I don't know that has Disney learned.
But they are seeing it the most clearly. They may not have learned their lesson because they're stupid fucks over there, but they have seen it the most clearly. But I think all of the companies that have streaming services have seen it. And interestingly, another company that sees it clearly and has benefited from it is Sony, because Sony isn't trying to push they don't have a streaming service they're trying to push, and they're still making the money off the licensing, and so they're still riding high. Even though they might not be able to compete directly with the big boys, they're not suffering the storms that the big boys are suffering. So they are now positioning themselves to do very, very well going into 2023. And again, we look at Well, you can look at Spider-Man and stuff. That the Marvel stuff, though, could also hold them back if they're not careful with that. But then there's the afterlife, and there's other things that they've got. If they're really smart with it, they'll do very well.
Yeah. I think Sony is going to rule holiday box office with their Ghostbusters sequel. I'm glad that someone other than Disney is putting something up at Christmas time next year.
Yeah.
And I will be looking forward to seeing that movie on the big screen during Christmas time next year.
And whoever does the marketing for, and I said this in 2021, I said it throughout 2022, I'm going to say it again now. Whoever's doing the marketing for Ghostbusters is doing a phenomenal job, because they are not giving too much away, but they are parceling it out little by little to get people salivating, you know? Yeah. I just heard another bit of news about the Ghostbusters animated feature that they're working on, but not enough to be able to share it with anybody. Just this little tantalizing morsel. That
I'm very curious. Yeah, about
it
that
implies that there's at least going to be some recognition of the real Ghostbusters.
Interesting.
And they're aware of the big fandom for the real Ghostbusters, but they haven't gone so far as to say, yes, this is going to be a continuation of the real Ghostbusters.
Is it going to be a continuation, or maybe a re-envisioning of what the real Ghostbusters was?
Or could it be something that kind of brings the two more together? Maybe. You know, the way we kind of had wanted the real Ghostbusters to be, and we kind of always imagined in our heads. You know, I could look at Egon in the real Ghostbusters and go, yeah, that goofy blonde curl on top of his head. You know, it's very hard to see Harold Ramis in that. But I know that's supposed to be the same character, you know? Yeah. And some of the stories you could totally see happening, you know, contemporaneously with the Ghostbusters films. Yeah. Even when they talk about, you know, what happened between the two movies and what happened after the second movie, there's acknowledgments as if those movies happened within the real Ghostbusters canon, so to speak. And yet when Ghostbusters Afterlife came out, you were like, okay, a lot of the later, you know, canon of the real Ghostbusters couldn't have happened. The Extreme Ghostbusters couldn't really have happened based on what they said, except, well, they showed a couple of the ghosts that were from the cartoon that they made toys of that, you know, show up in Ghostbusters Afterlife as Easter eggs. And there were some things, if you squint and think about it, maybe it could have fit. So I'm like, these guys know what they're doing. They know how to hook the audience and pull the disparate parts of their fandom together. What a novel concept, instead of purposely dividing your fan base and pushing people away. Shocker.
Apparently there is a Chinese Maverick ripoff.
Good. That's a sign that, you know, we did something right. I want to see a Bollywood ripoff. Those are always the best.
That'd be funny if there was a...
Do yourself a favor. After this stream is over, go Google Indian or Bollywood Thriller. There's a ripoff of the Thriller video out
You're
there.
Kidding me.
It is hysterical. You will watch this thing and go, the fuck am I watching?
I hope it's better than Turkish Star Trek. That was another one.
I don't know anything about that,
okay,
but it's probably right up there. It's probably right up there.
But no, going back to what you're saying though, Ghostbusters animated. I'm wondering if they're going to do, if Slimer is going to be a big part of that. You think?
You know, Slimer is a marketing juggernaut. Slimer was to Ghostbusters what Grogu has been to the Disney Star Wars. You know,
and I want to get go ahead. Sorry.
No, I don't know where I was going.
I was just going to say I gave points for Afterlife for not just trying to throw Slimer in there, even though it would have been the obvious.
No,
thing
but they did something very smart. They had a version. They had another ghost that was like Muncher, exactly.
Yes.
And he's definitely got that potential. In fact, I would not be surprised if whatever animated feature he doesn't become like that kind of a mascot.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to see Slimer and Muncher end up, you know, in the same cartoon and not liking each other.
That'd be funny.
That would be hysterical.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think I haven't gotten to the new year yet. I guess I should pick my loser for 2022. It's very easy.
Go for it.
Actually, there were a couple, but I'm going to pick the main one. Now, you picked a thing, right?
Yeah.
I picked the person. Bob Chapek, I think, is the big loser for 2022. He got a golden parachute, I'm sure, so he's richer than either of us. But
yeah, that is the one thing that I think a lot of people miss on this whole thing is that, and be very, very clear, okay? You got to pay attention. You guys, especially those of you that come to this channel, you know, that follow the things that we're reporting on. And let's face it, we're always very clear about what our sources are. We have no independent sources. We're pulling it from, you know, other sources. You don't have to watch us if you're following Midnight's Edge and, you know, the, what do you call it? You know, the different YouTubes and the web pages and the, you know, geek media. But, it was very clear. We reported on this and everyone else did too, that Bob Chapek got his contract renewed for an additional 3 years this past year. And then he got fired. That contract was signed. He got paid for 3 years. He is literally going to spend if he does nothing for the next 3 years, he's got his money already.
Yeah, but the reason I call him the loser of the year, I just feel that he failed at running Disney. At first we were on his side. You remember he was saying we're staying out of politics during that whole that bill that was signed in Florida by our governor down here, and you know, meant to protect children. That's all that bill was about. That's all I see it as.
Yeah, you know, but we do have to keep that in context, right? I mean, saying that he was the loser because he failed to lead the company is kind of like blaming the U.S. military for losing Vietnam, right? You know, we won all the battles, but we lost the war. Why did we lose the war? Because politically we weren't allowed to win.
Well, this is another problem too. Was he ever really in charge then, though? Is that what I'm saying?
No,
he really
friggin' wasn't. He really friggin' wasn't, because anyone who is any clarity on what was happening over there knows that Bob Iger, despite having stepped down and stepped away, was actually still in charge, right? And here's what's happened. All the failures that are attributed to Bob Chapek were all things that were already signed and in the, you know, there's this great bit from, I'm kind of going around the world here. Stay with me, everyone. There's this great movie with Kelsey Grammer where he's a naval captain, and I'm forgetting the name of it. Down Periscope.
I remember Down Periscope.
Right, and he's in a war game. He's in a sub, and he's against somebody else who's, I don't remember if he's in a sub or a battleship or whatever. Anyway, it's a rigged game, right? Kind of like Heartbreak Ridge. You know, it really helps to know when and where you're gonna get hit, right? It's the same kind of thing. It's rigged against him, so he kind of plays around the rules. So at the very end, you know, they get a targeting solution. They say, "You've been hit. Stand down." He goes, "Yes, you're right. I acknowledge that I've been hit, but our ducks are already in the water." "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, we've actually fired on the vessel, and our torpedoes are in the water, and they're about to hit. So we win. Even though you got us, we still win." Same thing, right? Iger steps out, but he's greenlit all of these projects that are all hitting after he's left, right? And they're all failures because they were all woke bullshit, right? And then everyone looks and they blame the current leader as if he had anything to do with it, as if he had any power to stop those things that were already in the water flying towards their target. You know, that's not how it works. You know, we do the same thing with politics. We look at what happens in the current administration, right? And if it's a success, the president takes responsibility for it, right? If it's a failure, oh, it was that last guy. It was all his fault. You can't have it both ways. And yet the dumbass voters buy that bullshit.
But my point is this, Bob Chapek's going to get the blame for everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's the fall guy, basically.
He is the scapegoat. That's right.
Yeah.
So they are blaming everything on him. And that allows Iger to step back in with a clean slate. Now, what does that mean going forward? Don't know. Probably going to make a bunch of other stupid bullshit, decisions that aren't going to improve anything. Or if he's got any fucking brains, and I'm not sure he does, but if he does, he'll say, you know what? No, we're gonna change things up, and we're gonna do all the things because there are some things that Bob Chapek probably has some eggs in the water. Right? And if they turn out to be successful, then he's going to take, what's his name? Iger's going to take credit for them.
I believe one of those eggs, and it's not coming out this year, but next year, Deadpool 3. And many people argue Iger never would have greenlit a Deadpool 3. It's a 20th Century Studios film, probably takes place in the old X-Men universe because it's Deadpool. But everything Disney has planned, I actually am looking forward to that because I want to see Ryan Reynolds, and apparently they're getting Hugh Jackman to play as Wolverine in that one, and they're going to be think about the riffing off each other.
Oh, that'll
Wolverine
be fucking
and
awesome.
Deadpool. And
look,
Hugh
that is two actors that just love what they're doing and are just going to fucking have fun with it, and they don't give a shit about anything, right? They're just going to do their thing. But what I will say is that. And this is a big negative that I'm going to put against Chapek, and I this is why I had a falling out with another certain YouTuber over this. I pointed this out long before he was let go, and it became very clear that I was right. I said he's feckless.
Yeah,
he comes out with saying all the right things. Where I don't care about politics. We're going to move back to the center. We're going to be customer focused. They're going to be our North Star. And then he does the fucking hostage message.
The apology video. And of course, that didn't win him many points with the other side either.
It was literally the beginning of the end for him. That's where he went down. And if he had any fucking balls, he would have said, no, I am the CEO of this company. You go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I am going to run this company, or you can let me go.
We kept everyone kept saying he had a plan, he has moves, and I even joked that he has a plan. Getting fired was part of his plan. Now he can really, it's just, and it's sad really because what happened under Bob Chapek's thing? Gina Carano got fired. That happened.
Did you see? There was Midnight's Edge, the panel was talking about that, and they clipped it on their clip channel, where they basically pointed to the Gina Carano thing as pretty much the end of the fandom for the Disney Star Wars.
Done, because there were people on board with The Mandalorian even after the disastrous sequel.
Because every failure they've had after that has been a result of that. They had their whole plan for this kind of Marvel-esque universe for Star Wars, integrated and so forth. They had plans upon plans. They had their plans for the Ranger and all this stuff. They had Gina Carano set up to be that strong female lead, blah, 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 blah.
That all the men loved, too. The men in the audience accepted
The men
her.
loved him. The women loved her.
Yes.
I mean, everybody loved her, right? I mean, You know, what's funny is seeing all the female YouTubers who are like, look, I'm straight, but boy, let me tell you, I got a girl crush on her. And I'm like, I totally see that. Right?
I guess it's like the men with Henry Cavill, you know? It's like
kind of, yeah.
What is it? The men want her, or the women want him, and men want to be him, sort of thing.
Right,
you know?
exactly. And I think that was the same thing with Gina Carano.
And
but not to mention, though, that with her fans, she would actually comparing her to Henry Cavill is a great example. And you know they dated, by the way, just throwing that out there. But Gina Carano has that same kind of personality with her fans, where she is just so sweet and never says anything that would push fans away, you know. But unfortunately, she didn't buy into the woke messaging, and so they decided, well, they're gonna axe her. Well, that's great, because you pretty much scuttled your entire Star Wars over that. $5 billion down the drain because you didn't like this one actress. Congratulations, Lucasfilm. And you'll notice I'm not specifying any individual, Kathleen Kennedy, because it goes far beyond her. It's Iger, it's Chapek, it's all of Lucasfilm Limited. Hell, it even bleeds into Marvel Films and Kevin Feige. You know,
this is what I think happened, and we don't know because we're not behind the scenes. But this is.
And real quick, let me just say hi to. I think there's a couple people we haven't said hi to that have joined us. I don't know if we had said hi to Auditor Dread earlier. Hey, Auditor Dread, I saw you. I've been seeing your comments there. Horizon Talker, down Periscope. Eventually, we will get around to that. I will not do that on my channel because I know Netter loves that movie, and she's going to be doing it eventually. And. Mason Blevin, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Awesome to see you. I'm not sure what you're laughing at, but hopefully there's a lot of things that we're saying that you can laugh at tonight.
Okay. But, yeah, welcome to the stream. Here's what I think happened. I think they were going to get rid of her quietly. It was just going to be, we're not going to renew your contract sort of thing, but they weren't going to make it a public thing.
Right.
Someone at Lucasfilm, a Lucasfilm representative, went to the media and laid out this whole message. I don't know if Kathleen Kennedy knew about that. I suspect she didn't. She still wanted her gone, but I don't think that
I assume that she was absolutely behind it. She's a petty fucking bitch.
Maybe, but I thought it was Pablo Hidalgo who did it.
Well, he's a petty fucking bitch, too.
Yeah. I think she was still, because I think what this was about sabotaging the Favreau universe. I could be wrong on all this, but that's what it rings.
Well, they've done it.
Get rid of your biggest star.
They've done it, and the problem with that is the Favloni verse was the only possible positive path forward for Lucasfilm, and they fucked it. So they literally have killed the $5 billion investment. Congratulations. And there are still investors that are pissed about it.
So we'll see. And you notice how Andor, now to be fair, I haven't seen Andor. I've heard the consensus is people like it, but I don't think it's getting the ratings. I think people are just fed up because
guys, we don't have any cameras on, but Netter's over here mocking me. She's doing the look. But at least she's having a good time. But no, absolutely. In fact, I haven't watched Andor, and I really don't plan to. But and that tells you something, right? For as big a Star Wars fan as I am, I've completely checked out. I didn't watch. Well, I'm not going to say I didn't watch Obi-Wan. I did watch a fan edit of it that took the whole series and condensed it down into a 2.5-hour movie, which was far more watchable, I'm sure, than the actual.
I suspect it was originally going to be a 2.5-hour movie that they stretched out into a series.
And it was also going to be focused on Luke instead of Leia, but you know their DIE initiative is came into play, and once again, the people behind it didn't have to listen to them. They could have said, "This is the movie we're making. You don't like it? Make another one that's all people of color and all women and all LGBT." But this is the movie. No. Nobody has the balls to stand up and problem is the Kathleen Kennedy rumor comes back every so many months. Oh, I don't even fucking pay any attention to that. I don't give a shit anymore. Because it's gone. I said this earlier. It goes far beyond Kathleen Kennedy at this point. It doesn't even have anything to do with her. She is a nobody.
it can't be fixed. It's going to take a lot more than getting rid of her to fix Lucasfilm at this point. That could have been the case maybe a few years ago if we got.
If as people have predicted, she's gone after Indy comes out and fucking fails. That wasn't my prediction, but
that's mine.
I'm sorry, I just ruined it for you.
No, okay. Adrian,
okay. Let's talk about that then. Your prediction about
my prediction is that Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is going to bomb at the box office this summer. And before some of you say, "Oh, that can't happen," people didn't go to see Solo, and that was a Star Wars movie that also bombed. I think we're going to see a Solo style bomb. This is not me saying it.
And wait a second. And let me add to that. This is also a sequel to Crystal Skull that did not do well.
It's coming off the heels of Crystal Skull.
You cannot ignore Crystal Skull.
You can't. This is what I think. This is not
certain YouTuber that I don't talk to anymore.
This is not me saying that Dial of Destiny is going to be a bad film. I don't know. I'm not hopeful, but I haven't seen it. But it's a matter of, is the audience there for this movie? And I think bridges have been burned. I think they were burned with Crystal Skull. But I also think they were burned just with Lucasfilm in general. Willow was not doing well. Willow, they didn't understand. They actually had to build that audience back. Or just build it up, period. Because I don't know if Willow ever had a huge audience, but it could have been something special.
And at this point, let me do a quick plug for a good friend of the channel, Big Al of Big Al Presents, who is going to be having a review of the entire Willow series very soon. I think everyone will be very interested to hear it. I have some insights. I'm not going to ruin anything, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, not to get off track, but I remember the original Willow movie. I at the time saw it as a
Wait
fun...
a minute. Horizon Talker, his comment.
Horizon Talker.
Yeah.
Failing as a prediction.
A prediction? I thought it was a given.
Well, I was so way off last year with my Doctor Who getting rebooted prediction, which apparently that's not happening. Though it is coming to Disney Plus. Isn't that interesting? But...
that is not a good sign. That is not a good sign.
But no, the reason why I figure what's a safe prediction? I'm thinking it's going to bomb, and I'm going to tell you what put this in my head though. It was the trailer that got released. Did you see the trailer for it?
Yep.
What's the big problem with that trailer?
How horrible the special effects are, the CG.
Well, I wasn't even thinking about that, but I was also thinking about the music. They don't use any actual John Williams score. Yeah. It's a synthetic score.
Well, I suspect, and Tom over at Midnight's Edge suspected this too, that this is all very rough footage. This is not the complete stuff. At least we fucking hope it's not.
Then wait on the trailer.
We're talking She-Hulk levels of CG here. That's the problem that we're seeing here. It's fucking ridiculous when the Corridor Crew and fan films can do better CG than what Disney's putting out at this point. They're a laughing stock. It's fucking ridiculous.
I mean, the sad thing is there are things even about the movie which I actually kind of like. I mean, I don't like the fact Mads Mikkelsen would be playing a certain German enemy from a certain decade. I think that
actually you got a good point
as a villain. He's good casting in that. I don't know, but again,
I do think that David Pensack has a great prediction himself here. IP fire sale at Lucasfilm soon.
What are they doing?
Some of the folks at Midnight's Edge have speculated on that too. So yeah.
You have to build Willow up.
And Horizon Talker, that's exactly right. Al, who loves everything, versus Disney Lucasfilm, who hates everything, should be interesting. It will be. Check it out.
Part of me wonders too if maybe did Kathleen Kennedy and Lucas date and then he broke up with her, but we can still be friends, right? And says, yeah, we can still be friends, and all these years later she's breaking all his toys now.
No, I don't know
what's going on here.
No, I think it's simpler than that. I know a lot of people like Kathleen Kennedy. These fourth wave modern feminists who think that they're so fucking oppressed because they were given jobs in the shadow of men and literally got to where they were because of the men that they were under. And then when they're given some power, they want to destroy those men. And it's like, you fucking ass, right? I never should have helped you. You know, you are the example that undermines the whole feminist narrative.
You
right?
know, the women.
I inherited from a man, and I am so awesome I can destroy what the man created. Can't create on my own. I'm not that good, but I can destroy.
Yeah,
which is the exact opposite of the power of femininity, right? Because the feminine is the creator. The natural order of things is that the woman is the creator, but the modern feminist is the destroyer. I'm just drunk enough to be that profound.
It might be, because maybe it's time to burn everything down. I did something interesting, though. I decided to watch a trailer for Crystal Skull to compare it to the one I saw for this new one, Dial of Destiny, because I wanted to see, is this a better trailer? And it is, because one, it uses actual Indiana Jones music written by a certain composer known as John Williams. That, you know, when you go to see Indiana Jones movie, that's half the fun, is hearing his soundtrack, right?
God.
And
George Lucas himself said that Star Wars would not have been Star Wars without George Lucas. Or
with John Williams.
Yeah.
And in this trailer, you get some synthetic thing, but in the Crystal Skull trailer, it's not the music from Crystal Skull. They're reusing tracks from older Indiana Jones movies. I think Raiders of the Lost Ark, but they know enough to use the actual Indiana Jones music, and you can reappropriate that music for your trailer, your Lucasfilm. You own it. You don't have to make some synthetic. I don't understand why they use the synthetic score, and other YouTubers have been
because they are
too.
Fucking dumbasses. David Pensek, I don't know specifically what you're referring to. He said, "Well said, Troy." Thank you. I don't know what I said, but let's face it. Unless I do a re-listen to this when I'm sober, I won't remember what I said.
The tragedy will be if it's an actual good movie that fails. I don't think it will be. If this is another one of these things where they disgrace the hero and kill him off.
Honestly, Age of Boomer, based on in support of your prediction, it can't be. It is doomed to fail. Even if they we've gotten some conflicting messages from Doomcock on this. Are they going to change the ending? Are they going to kill off Indy and have the bitch take over and be Indy? I don't know. But even if they don't, it's going to suffer from the last. What was the last Star Wars? The third one in the sequel? Rise of Skywalker. It's going to suffer from the Rise of Skywalker syndrome, where they've done like 5, 6, 7, 12 different versions of the movie, and it's such a fucking Frankenstein editing job. It's going to be shit no matter how good the ending is, you know?
Do you think it's going to involve time travel?
The trailer seemed to imply that. And Matt Inouye says the word of the day is ungrateful. Abso-friggin-lutely. Oh, and David Pensek points out the modern woman thing. Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't mean to get off on a feminist rant, but there's somebody that Netter and I know, and her husband is a hostage, and we feel sorry for him. And fourth wave feminism sucks.
Oh, wow. John Williams, blessed be his name, Lord of the
Leitmotif.
Commander of the orchestra, protector and defender of classical soundtrack, last of the great composers. You cannot use the soundtrack. Do you know what? I had an image of him. Like, maybe he's wearing a headband and an 80s style suit and says, "I've got electronic now for this new score. This actually was me."
And we lost Vangelis last year, too. So fuck it all. Yeah. Fuck it all. And I'm blasting out Netter's ears. I'm sorry.
I guess we'll find out how they wrote out the great Mutt Williams and his CGI monkey swinging antics. Oh, man. Why did they do that? I didn't even necessarily hate Shia LaBeouf in that movie, but when they did this, when they were doing the fencing on the trucks,
there
and the
is
sword swinging with the monkeys, that was stupid.
forgive me
The
for
stupid
fanboying
movie.
forgive me for fanboying retro blasting yet again, but he's got a great video about the whole indie thing, and he's kind of checked out from indie. He's like, I don't even care about this next movie.
No, I don't think anybody does. I don't think it has the audience they think it does.
He felt that the downfall of Indiana Jones was not Crystal Skull, but actually The Last Crusade. Because the whole idea behind Indiana Jones ought to have been the concept of the he should have been like James Bond. You should have been able to cast other actors.
But couldn't they have still done that after Last Crusade? You just do 3 movies with Harrison Ford, and then you can just do another 3 with a different actor in the 90s.
Because unfortunately, Last Crusade established the aging character, continuing on. You need to kind of keep, especially since what was the second movie with the Kali Ma, Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom actually is set before Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? So it was really meant to be continuing anthology of standalone films, right? It was supposed to be like the old Republic serials of the past. Unfortunately, they tied themselves to Harrison Ford, and now this is going to be the last Indiana Jones. It is. Despite all the fucking bullshit you've heard about,
What?
Fleabag having her own series as Indiana Jones going forward. It's all bullshit, right? It should have been like James Bond, and it's not. It's all been fucked.
Okay, that's nothing. I just found out that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is playing the android in the new Alien movie, so that's over, and I'm a Legacy fan.
Good. I hope to see her ripped in half too, with spoiled milk.
That was the one bright spot of Covenant and Prometheus was Michael Fassbender.
I can't take Phoebe Waller-Bridge seriously. Ever since seeing her, flicking the bean.
I know what you're talking about.
in Fleabag, I just can't take her seriously anymore.
The Feminist Reaper. Okay, well, we'll see. Maybe it'll be good. I mean,
and like half of our audience is like, "What does flicking the bean mean?" Look it up on
a family show. Come on.
Look it up on Urban Dictionary if you don't understand. I'm not going to tell you.
I tried with Fleabag.
I'll tell you on Friday. I won't tell you on this channel.
I got like 3 episodes in the Fleabag, and I'm like, this is a show about horrible people.
I haven't seen a single episode. I've only seen that one scene.
It reminded me of like a British version of Girls. Not quite as awful, because she's not as awful as like the women on Girls, but I mean,
yeah.
I've
only seen that one scene, and that was on a certain hub.
If I'm being fair to Phoebe Waller-Bridge, was she the one that hurt the last James Bond movie, or was it already screwed? Because I know she was brought into.
She sure as fuck didn't help.
Okay. Anyways, and she was in Solo as that weird android that had the thing for Lando, which was weird because
actually, David Pensack makes a great point, and that I want to speak to. Yes, that is what I'm talking to. So you know that all the James Bonds prior to Craig were the same James Bond, just played by different actors.
Yes.
Whereas Craig was a reboot. Fuck that whole reboot. Fuck it all.
It didn't end well.
It sure as fuck did.
I'm terrified.
And sadly, because I liked the first one, Casino Royale had become my favorite James Bond since On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and actually for the same reasons.
Why? Because he was the serious Bond?
No. I mean, because he was the relatable romantic, right?
Yeah, fine. I think they went on with it too long, though. I think the whole point of On Her Majesty's is that his barriers had finally broken down. To be fair, they did break down with.
And did I tell you I did get the last movie?
You didn't
made a
watch
copy of it.
Okay, well,
and I have not watched it yet.
You enjoy it.
No, I may never actually watch it. I just had to have it in my collection.
I was that way with Spectre. I got the Blu-ray set, and they said, "There's room in here for Spectre." I'm like, "Yeah, Spectre was terrible, though." But I'm a completionist.
Flipping the bird at the camera that doesn't exist right now.
You know something, and I got Spectre, and I'm like, I ain't buying No Time to Die. For some reason, not even a spot for it in the actual Blu-ray set. And frankly,
deleted scenes. What does flicking the bean? Well, I'll tell you.
Oh, for the love of... Okay.
Okay, so everyone who doesn't know what flicking the bean is...
Are you kidding me? Dude.
Scenes.
Yes, okay.
No, I would not say it on your channel. I'm not that drunk.
Oh, my goodness.
If you don't know what flicking the bean is, first...
Give
it a little bit more thought.
Bridge. I don't find her as nauseating as someone like Brie Larson.
Netter says Google it. No, don't Google it. We're not endorsing that here. But if you want to know,
anyway, we'll see how Indy 5.
I wonder what I would get if I typed in flicking the bean.
We'll see how, dude.
I just want to know for my own sake. Flick the bean Wiktionary. I'm not going to say it out loud.
I'm waiting patiently to see if you see anything disgusting.
Oh, it's very general. It's not even gender specific. There you go. It's not even gender specific.
I unfortunately, we all know what it means anyways. You can catch.
No, you say that, but I think there's a lot of people in our chat that might not know.
Okay. Anyway,
guys, don't focus on that. Pretend I did not.
Just watch
say
the
that.
first episode of Fleabag if you want to know. It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, was it the first episode? I didn't even know that.
Was the first episode of Fleabag.
Zootopia. If we didn't say hi to you earlier, welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here.
Problem is, they're hiring people to work on Bond that don't like Bond. Yes, I know that. Get back to Bond being Bond. There's some rumored actors going around. Like one of the rumored actors to play the new Bond is the guy that played Kick-Ass, and I'm thinking that is the absolute worst choice of an actor to play Bond right now. That should be the one they pick. Because,
who played Kick-Ass?
Did you see Kick-Ass, the movie Kick-Ass with Nick Cage and...
Yeah, are you talking about Nick Cage?
No, not him. The kid. He's grown up now. He's
for fuck's sake. I'm getting sick and tired of the gender swapping bullshit.
But not her.
Look, let me just say something about this whole... No, I know this isn't what you're saying, but let me get my rant out, okay? This whole gender swapping thing, I'm getting fucking sick and tired of it, right? Because honestly, at this point, you got the what's her name? The who's that bitch that was like, I'm the first female action hero, and Sigourney Weaver's coming out and like, hello, I'm still alive. I mean, it's like, come on, man. I'm quoting the president. I've gone fucking full Joker. That's how drunk I am.
Okay, her name is Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence, yeah, right. No, she's not J-Lo. What is...
She's J-Law.
She's got her own...
J-Law.
J-Law.
She is the law.
No, the reason that's important is because Netter and I were, like, confused by that whole J-Law thing. I was like, okay. No, it's not Jennifer... Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence. She's the J-Law.
Deleted Scenes thinks he could be good. Maybe he's better. He's an adult now. He was playing a younger teenage guy in that movie. I'm just thinking he was like the nerdy dude in Kick-Ass that puts on the costume. Like, I don't want that as James Bond, but maybe he looks different now. I don't know, but I'm just
one thing I do want to say. Okay, so I don't know if I gave my winner. I forgot who the fuck I was going to say for my winner for 2022.
You mean?
But I want to say Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill, despite what a certain professor has to say about him, he has definitely played to his fan base. He Netter knows how drunk I am, so she just handed me a soda. So I must have annoyed her by something I said. Henry Cavill, he made one comment that a certain professor got pissed off about, and fucking get past it already, okay? Because everything else he has said, the preponderance of what he has said, has been very positive to the fan base. He has been very anti this current generation of wokeness, of castigating the fans.
There's a suspicion he left The Witcher because he was tired of them butchering the source material.
No. It's not even a suspicion. He's actually outright said it.
Okay, yeah.
And it was not because he was planning to do Superman. It was completely unrelated to that. He didn't want to have anything to do with it anymore.
Jennifer Lawrence was Mother Teresa before Mother Teresa. All right,
dude,
Troy.
I was just taking a drink, damn it.
Okay. Listen, what is your prediction for the new year? What's your big prediction?
So, my big prediction is this seems like a cop-out, but there's going to be a lot of the same. Because, unfortunately, everything that we were talking about, eggs in the water, and unfortunately those eggs are in the water. So we're going to see a lot more of the same in 2023, only because it's already been in the can. There's nothing we can do about it. I'm slurring my words, so deal with it, everybody.
Okay.
That's my prediction. We're going to get a lot of the same. And it won't be until next year that we see a shift.
Yeah, well, a lot of things were already in the pipeline. We're going to get more Marvel movies. We're going to get the Marvels, which is going to have all the Marvel. We're going to have Captain Marvel finally back.
Oh my God, that is going to fail bigger than anything.
We have Ant-Man Quantumania, I believe it's called. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania.
Is that still coming? Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, that's coming out. And we also have Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which I think will do well. I think people still hold the Guardians of the Galaxy movies in high regard, even if they're losing on Marvel. See, the trouble with Marvel is it's hard to say where the audience exhaustion is on it yet. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's going to be like Star Wars. I think we're going to see it slowly ticking off as we go.
All right. So, what else is there?
Can you highlight Horizon Talker there?
What is it? The Warhammer thing?
Yeah.
Sadly, I have very low tolerance for Warhammer products, so I won't be watching Henry series there, but I do sincerely hope he finds success. Poor man deserves better than he's gotten. Only Tom Cruise.
What channel is that coming out on? Isn't that Netflix?
No. It's rumored that it's going to be an Amazon series, but it's only been rumored so far. Oh, fuck
it. That's dead on arrival almost.
It's possible. Yeah. What else is coming out this year? We have Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1. I think that'll be the big hit of the summer. It's Tom Cruise again.
I really should start watching these Mission Impossible films.
How many of them have you seen?
0.
Okay. Start with the first one.
I have seen scenes from the first one. I saw the one where, he takes the mask off and whatnot.
That's a lot of them. That's like every one of them.
That was part of the first one with who does he take the mask off? It was Angelina Jolie's father.
Yeah, John Voight.
Yeah, he takes off John Voight's mask. That's all I know. You just
spoiled the movie for anyone who hasn't seen it. I'm just saying.
But that was the first movie, wasn't it?
Okay, I happen to like Mission Impossible 2. I know Birdman hates it. Some people don't like it, but I enjoyed it a lot. And then Mission Impossible 3, that's sort of where the thread of the new one
Boomer,
starts.
do me a favor.
Yes?
When I sober up, remind me to watch these Mission Impossible films.
I think you should watch them all in preparation for the new one coming out. That'd be an interesting thing if you were to do give a little review on your channel of each one.
Yes, but you got to remind me when I'm sober.
Because you could probably, you might be able to do them all like once a month up until the release of the movie.
I swear, the people listening right now are like, "Oh my God, he's gone full Joker."
And you all don't have to live with him.
And Netter's pissed at me because I got drunk.
You're only allowed to do that on Fridays.
I know, but I don't have to work tomorrow. That's what I was thinking.
Guys, Plane comes out in less.
Saturday and today.
Hey, it's New Year's. It's New Year's, huh?
Woo!
Anyway, guys, please. Plane comes out in less than 2 weeks. It looks like a great film about heroic men saving people in danger, and that's enough for me at this point. Consider giving it a watch. So there's Gerard Butler in it, right?
What is that? What is this plane?
It's called Plane. I've seen a commercial for it. It looks interesting. I want to call it. I want to say it's what they used to call dad movies, like with Liam Neeson, where it's like, if you take my daughter, I'll
fucking kill you. Yeah, well, exactly.
And Gerard Butler is in a lot of those types of movies too. He was in the Fallen movies. You ever see London Has Fallen with Gerard Butler?
No, I haven't.
That's where he plays like the Secret Service guy working for the president, and a bunch of terrorists take over or start blowing up stuff in London. They say, "We're gonna, if you don't hand over the president of the United States, we will destroy London. And when you hand over the president of the United States, we're going to torture him to death live on the internet." It's like,
oh my God! Like oh my God! Let me just tell you how that story ends right now in reality. United States goes, fine, fucking blow up London. We don't give a shit.
No, here's what happened in the movie. What was interesting is that they have, what's really creepy about London Has Fallen is you have all of these stand-ins for the world leaders, because I guess the British Prime Minister dies, right, under mysterious circumstances.
Yep.
Probably poisoned by the terrorists, I'm imagining. So everybody goes over there to pay the respects. So you see the Angela Merkel stand-in. You see the Justin Trudeau stand-in. Whoever the Prime Minister of Japan is, and you can tell it's supposed to be them, even though they don't say it by name. You can tell these are like the movie versions of these characters.
Part of me
and then they start getting assassinated. They start getting assassinated.
Okay, like now I don't hate it so much.
No, dude, it's Olympus Has Fallen. That's the first one. Then it's the bad guys in that were the North Koreans. The bad guys in well, because they're the easy targets right now, right? London Has Fallen. It wasn't even the terrorist; it was a terrorist arms dealer that was getting revenge on the U.S. government for killing a member of his family. But of course, since he's an arms dealer, he knows all these terrorist groups. So they were helping him out to take down London. And in Angel Has Fallen, the third one, I'm pretty certain that the organization is based off of Blackwater, and they're the bad guys in the third one.
Guys, I got to tell you. At this point, I honestly feel like the crazy lone gunman, conspiracy theorists, they tend to be right. We live in a fucking upside down world.
Plane will be followed by train.
I like deleted scenes. Yep. He's bombed. Netter's network. I need you to take over.
No, there was a Liam Neeson movie that took place on a plane where he's like the air marshal on a plane, and there's a killer on board and it's action and whatnot. And then there's another one by the same director that takes place on a train, and I'm like, next one has to be in an automobile where he's.
There was. I don't remember which James Bond movie it was, but. Maybe it was a couple of them where the narrative story is they have a complete story as the prologue, right? I think we need a film like that where you have, some setup for a big full film, and the good guy just like shoots the guy in the head and it's done. That's the prologue. And then we go into what the main movie is.
Really? You think that's an idea, huh?
It's very James Bond-esque, License to Kill, damn it.
A remake of Speed. We shall call it Bus. Okay.
No. Look, here's the problem with... There are certain films that should never be remade. And if they are good enough to be remade, don't remake them. Just remind people they exist.
Honestly, I think we should all talk about Cocaine Bear.
I want to see that. I got to be honest with you. I want to see that.
Is that Ray Liotta's last movie?
It's based on a real life situation.
Yeah, the bear ate a thing of cocaine and went nuts, right?
Yeah. He didn't live long because he died of a fucking heart attack. So the movie kind of draws it out, but I love the fucking idea.
The prequel could be called School Bus. They already did that. It was called Dirty Harry. It ends with a school bus, remember? Remember the end of the movie with the, where the serial killer screaming at the kids? Sick. I watched the Gerard Butler movie.
I am just drunk enough to be doing the Amadeus laugh.
I thought it was like, ah! It sounds kind of like a demented Mickey Mouse, but... Okay, so are you so this year, about turning early leaf, are you going to forgive Disney?
Fuck no. They are the front line of
everything
human
wrong.
trafficking, fucking child destroying. Okay. I'm trying to not say things that are gonna, slap your
If you could see one of these three movies, you have to watch one of these three movies. Which will it be? Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Okay. Blue Beetle or The Flash. You have to watch one of them. You're forced to watch one of them. Which of them do you pick?
What were the three again?
Oh wait, no, four. I have to pick a fourth. Aquaman and the Lost City. So there you go. Aquaman, Blue Beetle, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, or The Flash. Which do you want to see?
Oh, I'll watch Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle might be the sleeper hit, right?
No, I'm serious. I'm kind of interested in that. The others can go fuck themselves.
Okay. Come on, man. I mean, Shazam might be good. It's got Helen Mirren in it, right? As like somebody.
Okay, so I'll be honest with you. I haven't seen the first Shazam film, even though I have it sitting right next to me. I haven't watched it yet.
I think it's a Christmas movie, actually. I think it takes place at Christmas time. Shazam. Yeah, Big Al says Shazam.
Yeah. Shazam is a Christmas movie like Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Did I say that out loud? Oops. Did you hear that, Big Al?
So let's talk about the movies of the past year that I've seen. I saw Morbius. Have you seen Morbius yet?
I have not. Although I've heard the meme, Morbin time.
It's Morbin time. So bad. It's so bad. Everybody was ragging on it, and I'm thinking this movie is not that bad.
I've never heard Troy Pacelli laugh so much on the show. You've never heard me this drunk. This is
he saves this for Friday nights.
Happens
usually.
when I celebrate the end of 2022. I am that drunk. Yes.
And I win in Vino Veritas.
I love that. Big Al, you got to remind me of that when I'm sober, because that's a great line. In Vino Veritas, I am that drunk to admit that Big Al is right.
In Vino Veritas. I like that.
In wine, truth.
In wine, truth. So,
even though I didn't drink any wine tonight.
So, what do you honestly think of Zaslav? Do you think he's a good egg, or we don't know yet? I mean, he seems to be cleaning house.
From last night.
You're right. We have not finished the champagne from last night. I need to finish that off. Zaslav, I
can't get a read on him right now. That's my problem.
I was burned so badly by Chapek, I'm afraid to make any commentary on Zaslav.
Yeah.
He says all the right things. He seems like a businessman. He seems to not give a flying fuck about the woke bullshit. The one thing he's got in his favor is that he doesn't have the hostage situation that Chapek did. right? He's got the freedom to do whatever the fuck he wants. So who knows? Maybe he can be everything we were hoping Chapek was going to be. I know that's not an answer, but that's the best I can do for you.
Okay. About as relevant as Reyes himself. Okay. I don't know. It might be good, the Blue Beetle movie, right? Huh? Maybe?
Unfortunately, I'm kind of still smarting over the fact that we're not getting a Ted Kord Blue Beetle. I know that kind of flies in the face of Latino Slant, and I love Latino Slant, and I understand where he's coming from, but Ted Kord was my Blue Beetle, and
they tend to skip. I mean, on Batman the Brave and the Bold, it wasn't Ted Kord, though later on they had Ted Kord on the show as Blue Beetle, and they explained the whole origin, and they did a whole episode about Ted Kord, so they did that later on in the show, but it was Reyes.
Dude, I haven't gotten over them killing Ted Kord in the comics. Fuck them all.
Okay. Anyway, let's see. We had Black Adam this year, which wasn't that great, but
well, obviously I haven't seen that if I haven't seen Shazam yet.
You don't have to see Shazam
Fuck.
to see Black Adam.
Yeah, right. That's the problem,
it.
right? Because it's completely divorced from Captain. I'm sorry, it's not Captain Marvel now. It's Shazam. But you know what I mean.
I don't know. I kind of felt bad because they're introducing the Justice Society, and here's Dr. Fate, and here's Hawkeye, and I'm like, great, good, but we've not done anything with these characters yet, and I don't know who they are. You're acting like I should know who they are.
No, honestly, I gotta say that is probably the best argument for why it's good that they completely do a fucking cold reboot for this DC universe.
Let's see. We'll see how that.
I am getting fucking sick and tired of all the YouTubers that I generally tend to like getting so pissed off about the reboot and shitting all over Gunn. It's like, look, I am not a big Gunn fan, but he's not the problem. You are. You are. Because the Snyderverse fucking failed. It did. It didn't have the numbers. People did not go and see it enough and spend the money to make it a success. So fuck y'all.
Or there's just not enough of you.
Exactly. It failed. This is the numbers. Deal with it, assholes.
What killed me was they actually had Cavill show up at the end, and he was in the actual. I think he was in the actual Superman costume, not the one from the Man of Steel movie. I think they actually had him in the. With the old
is
school
that
S.
right?
I think he had the old school S. I'd have to rewatch it again, that scene. But and the old school S, and they even played the John Williams music. Dun 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 dun. I'm like, hey, there's a great setup for something that will never happen now. So,
yeah, right. Okay. Exactly. Well, because I think the intent was to make the soft pivot, and they're like, and I understand where Zaslav is coming from, especially with all the shit that he's gotten from the Flash actor and the, shitting in the bed girl. It's like, fuck all this. Just start fucking over.
Black Adam was passable, but it felt like Justice Society Part 6. I'll say this. I like the actors they had in the Justice Society. I thought they were all good.
Mananui says, yeah, Troy likes swords. I don't know what that means, but it's not wrong.
Okay. What are you looking forward most to in 2020? I think I asked you this Friday, but what is it? Ghostbusters?
I am looking to Ghostbusters. They're currently calling it Ghostbusters Firehouse, but that's not going to be the final title. Yeah, I'm looking forward to anything. Hell, I'll expand that. I'll even say that I'm looking forward to anything Sony's doing. Sony's doing a pretty decent job. I don't know anything about this Morbius, but as bad as I've heard it was, I'm willing to check it out because...
Dude, we got to do that on a Friday stream. I think you should just do a cold watch.
Do a cold watch on a Friday? Okay.
Oh, man. Maybe have deleted scenes or something.
That could be funny. That could be funny.
Dude, you don't understand. It's... I didn't go into Morbius wanting to hate it, too. I want to make this clear. I was like, you know what? It can't be as bad as everybody says, and... It can't be as bad as Venom. That's what I was thinking because I hated Venom. I think this is worse than Venom. I think it was worse than Venom.
I don't hate Sony for what they're doing. They're working with what they got.
No, Here's the deal: working with what they got, does what they got include like Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man? Can they bring him back and do a movie with him in it, and maybe have these characters in that movie instead of them doing standalone movies about the villains where there's no Spider-Man? Which doesn't
but
make any
that's
sense
the problem, right? They're trying to do, and when they're floating things like an Aunt May film, and
even Joker has Bruce Wayne in it as a kid.
They're doing whatever they can to make films with what they have the rights to. Look, I can't blame a company for doing that, right? The problem is there needs to be some sort of integration with the mainline Marvel, or why even bother? It's gonna be shit, ultimately.
Well,
I
no,
think even
apparently
Spider-Man himself is going to fall apart if they don't.
No. According to what I saw at the end of Morbius, the thing at the end, Morbius is in another universe, but it's still connected to the MCU.
Don't even start that shit with me, Agent Boomer.
That's what they said.
I'm getting sick and fucking tired of this multiverse, Spider-Verse. It is lazy bullshit writing.
But the Vulture, Michael Keaton's Vulture, crosses over. I guess maybe it was during the Spider-Man No Way Home.
You're hurting my head, and it has nothing to do with the
actually doesn't
alcohol.
make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
In comparison to how it was structured in No Way Home. But apparently he zaps over to the Venomverse, and I guess he's going to try to form the Sinister Six with Morbius, and there'll be an anti-hero superhero team. I don't know.
Says, Agent Boomer, Troy Pacelli, I'll do a Morbius first watch. Why not? I would be totally cool with doing that on your channel, Deleted Scenes. That would be
we could
fun.
do that sometime. That might be neat.
Yeah,
let me know
if you want to have me as a guest on your channel and do a watch party, get my first reaction to that, I'll do it.
I'll make sure he doesn't drink.
She'll make sure I doesn't drink.
I think you need to drink for Morbius.
I was thinking, well, no. I got to be careful because, I tried that with Van Helsing and you know what happened with that.
Oh, man. Matt Smith and that, too. It's funny, there's a British reviewer I watch sometimes, Mark Kermode, and he was saying, if they had made the movie about the Matt Smith character, that might have been more interesting, because he was... he's Morbius' friend. I guess they both had the blood disease growing up, the one that, disables you, and just, it's... No, when it starts out, I'm genuinely interested. I mean, if you think about it, this is a kid born with, a horrible malady, right? And instead of letting it beat him, he struggles with it, but he becomes a scientist himself and figures out a way to treat it in people that are less far along than him. I think he ends up doing a lot of good in the world, even though he's stuck with this malady. So he starts out as this, and I guess is that how it is in the Spider-Man comic? But this become there's a tragic thing when he decides to cure himself, and then he turns into a monster.
Kind of,
sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean that does sound very similar to the comic origin of Morbius and so forth. Yeah,
it's just it's not good. What else is coming out this year? Anything television-wise you're looking forward to?
I don't even watch regular television anymore.
Picard season 3, huh?
Fuck that bullshit.
Okay.
I didn't even get through season 1. Fuck all of that Star Trek bullshit.
Anyway.
Don't even get me started. I'm too drunk for that shit.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there are any TV series I'm looking forward to in the new year. I don't know. I'm enjoying Tulsa King a lot. I do recommend you check out Tulsa King sometime.
I dig it. And I definitely want to see, I know there's a season 2 coming out of Outer Range. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah, there will be a season 2 of that.
Thank you for that Deleted Scenes.
The neat thing about, Tulsa King, it's almost like a combination of two genres. Modern Western and mafia type thing. It's like they combine them, and it's neat how they integrate them. Yeah. Picard season.
Troy is starting to sound like Clobby. That I'll take as high praise. Thank you, Deleted Scenes.
Cobra Kai.
Oh yeah. They're getting another season, right?
I need to catch up on Cobra Kai. I need to make that a priority for the new year. That should be my New Year's resolution.
Netter and
I've seen.
Well, I don't want to speak for Netter. I've kind of forced her to watch it, but I've really, really liked that show.
I've seen scenes from it. Like I know this was a spoiler when he runs into his antagonist.
Half listening.
That's fair.
he ran into his antagonist from Karate Kid Part 2, and he's like,
Yep.
"Here, I'll show you the move." And then it looks like he's gonna do the finisher on Danielson, right? He's gonna kill him off,
and then he does the honk,
he does
and
the
he's
honk,
like, "Oh!" And he starts laughing and clapping. He's like, "I've been waiting so long to do that to you."
Because, like Johnny Lawrence, he's not a bad guy as an adult.
Right?
You know,
exactly.
yes.
Well, no, I love the fact that the bottom line story, and I think people have read too much into Cobra Kai. I think it's really this simple. They all fucking grew up.
Yes.
You know, even what was the third the kid from the Karate Kid 3, the bad boy of karate?
Yeah.
He's running like a furniture store. And Daniel comes in and like starts busting him up. He's like, "The fuck is wrong with you, dude?" And he's like, "Oh God, I'm so sorry," you know. And you just realize he's like, "I fucking forgot about all of that shit. I am not involved in any of that." And he's like, because he completely misunderstood a phone conversation he overheard. And we all just, Netter and I kind of laughed about that because it's like they all fucking grew up and they got over all that stupid bullshit. You know, and I remember a certain other YouTuber who was all like, "Oh, they're going to do the whole reversal and the bad guy is the good guy and the good guy is the bad guy, and they're going with the whole Daniel was the bad guy all along and this and that." And yeah, they kind of did, but they did it in such a way that it was like, for crying out loud, we were kids back then. No good guys, no bad guys. We were all just immature assholes back then. We've all grown up. Let's kind of move on. And when they fall back into their juvenile ways, you got the wives there to like, "Hey, get over it," you know? No, I love Cobra Kai. I really, really do.
Yeah, I need to catch up on it, and I have no excuse. I have access to Netflix at the moment, so I need to catch
I just
up
realized I'm saying a bunch of shit you haven't even seen yet.
It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, but I'll catch up on that, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else coming out in the new year. Mission Impossible 7, because those are just, it's a solid series. Starting really,
I might
with
actually have to watch a Mission Impossible movie.
They're all good. I started with Ghost Protocol. It really kind of kicks into high gear. That's the fourth one. It's one of these weird things where like normally when movies get more sequels, they get worse. But I think the series has gotten improved. I think 1 through 3 are still good movies, but I think by the time you get up to...
I'm sorry, I'm chuckling over Horizon Talker. The real secret to Cobra Kai is that 40 to 50-year-old men fist fighting is more entertaining than teenagers fist fighting. You're kind of right.
All I know is I caught a scene of it on the YouTube or whatever where there's like one guy, "Daniel, I kicked your ass before, and I'll do it again." It's like, and this guy looks all messed up, like he's high up.
There was one this past season where it was focused on Daniel's wife and some other females in the background type story. It was like a female centric story, and it was so funny because it plays off like the women are going to be all, you know, more evolved than the men or whatever. But by the end of it, you realize they realize they're not. That they are kind of caught in the same quagmire as the boys. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it was a great reality check. You know, I really kind of like that. Dude, yeah, no, I really would love it if you could get caught up. Just so you and I could talk about it. It would be great.
Yeah, I need to get
Hell, maybe one Friday or one Sunday we could just dedicate it to Cobra Kai. If you got just caught up, we could just talk about it. Yeah, that would be fun.
I'll let you know. I'll try to make it a mission of catching up on Cobra Kai.
Make it a New Year's resolution. I am going to watch all of Cobra Kai this season.
What else, though? Yeah, Tulsa King's good. I don't know if we're going to get a follow-up season this year to Tokyo Vice, but I really enjoyed that. And Outer Range, we'll keep an eye out for that. We should do another thing with deleted scenes when that comes back.
Big Al brings up Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. That's a hard sell for me, just because of the way the Dungeons and Dragons brand has been lately.
Do you know there's a whole thing going on in the RPG community where people are trying to go back to the old rules, I think, and people are publishing the old rules like in unofficial things now? The OSR community, I think it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling that to my Wednesday night gaming group, and they didn't know what I was talking about. I'm like, yeah.
No, it's a thing. Yeah. It's growing. They'll learn about it at some point because it's
well. I think there's a lot of gamers out there that are realizing that the first, second, third, fourth, fifth edition are all fucking out there now. We don't need to spend money on new editions. There's plenty of rules for role playing. Just pick your rules and make your own games. That's what role playing games are all about. You don't need to acquiesce to whatever the new thing is, where you have to have wheelchair accessible dungeons and nobody can be the bad guy because everyone's got to be the good guy, and safe spaces and all the other, blue-haired land whale bullshit in your role-playing games.
But you get to have prom now in D&D.
Oh yeah, you got to have prom in D&D too, because that was such a big thing in the Dark Ages and in fantasy settings. Right.
Barbie.
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
So the movie.
Come on, Barbie, let's go party.
That's going to be in the movie, that song. It's going to show.
I hope so.
It's going to be.
I love that song.
Margot Robbie as Barbie, maybe? I don't know.
If Margot Robbie is playing Barbie, then I want to see Tie Me Up, Dress Me Down, I'm Your Dolly. Yeah. Give me some of that, please. It better be PG-13 at least.
Started collecting
rock and roll.
fan-translated Sword World core books. Very interesting reading. I realize the most fantasy online is based on D&D, based on Sword World. Sword World, I believe that's the big RPG in Japan, right? That's their pen and paper.
I will know that we are ready for Sword and Sorcery again when I see a Conan film series that is, accurate to the source material.
Supposedly, they are working on it, and it will be accurate. I don't know when we'll see it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I won't hold my breath. I'll be dead.
It's being independently made, and then they're going to sell it to a network. They're going to sell it to a streaming service. It's like Amazon or Netflix is commissioning it. They're going to film it, and then they're going to sell it. They're doing the same thing with Solomon Kane. I'm very excited for a Solomon Kane series if they do it justice. Because it's basically like a Puritan. He looks like a Puritan pilgrim, but he sword fights and fights vampires.
I do have to say, I'm pretty black pilled about a lot of things. I really need to.
Yeah, man, don't.
I need to see it. And I need to see it be successful before I can.
I'll keep an open mind because at least with the Solomon Kane, because I heard an interview where I think Midnight Sedge was talking to Razor Fist, and he was asking about the Solomon Kane series, and apparently. They're going to do it in like a BBC-style format where the episodes are 90 minutes each.
Yeah.
So you could probably do a whole like story in the whole 90 minutes and then just do... And that, I think, is interesting. If they just do like 4 episodes a season and just do them like 90 minutes each, I think that could be pretty cool on a streaming service, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they'll pull this off.
Real quick, I want to welcome Gorilla Random Thoughts. Just started following him. He just started following me. I guess we could say we're kind of new to each other's, fandoms and whatnot, but he's a great channel. Kind of just starting out. But speaking of Barbie Girl, I was just singing Barbie Girl. The first video of his I saw was him doing karaoke to Barbie Girl. There's a whole story behind that. Check out his channel. You can find out about that. But I hope you'll go back and listen to the rest of this because we're kind of winding down now. And we've had a lot to say about 2022 and what's coming up in 2023.
Do I know what Brave New World is? Is that a movie that came out recently?
I know what Brave New World is. I don't know of a movie or anything like that. Oh, you mean the original Brave New World, the book? Oh, no. It must be a movie for 72 hours.
Anyway, maybe they did do a movie version a couple years ago before I started streaming. I don't know. So what are we doing this week? I never heard back from Daniel. I'm assuming he's doing.
Yeah, we specifically asked him directly, and
he went to bed.
He probably did.
An early
I was hoping to get him before he fell asleep. But he's got that whole narca sleepy. That was the rewatch that I missed out on this year. I wanted to do, what was it, 29th Street or whatever? I was telling you about that. I got to look back into that.
That
would make a great Christmas or New Year's. I'll plan on that for next year. So we don't know
you have tomorrow off, by the way? Or do you work?
do. That's the only reason I was drinking alcohol tonight, was because I know I have the day off tomorrow. My plan is to tomorrow get my Pippius Claw video edited so I can get it up on the Carton the Klingon Cleric channel. And maybe get some filming done on some toy videos that I want to get done. I'm kind of in the same situation that Michael French was when he was in the lead up to his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He had his toys all over the filming area, and he couldn't put them away until he was done filming and editing. And I got a bunch of stuff out that I need to get filmed so I can get them put away.
Cool.
And start straightening up the house. I don't have a big house, so I need to start getting stuff put away.
So Tuesday, and I should be on Mr. Matstick's channel unless things have changed, right?
And I will be watching those Spectacular Spider-Man episodes, on the side while I'm working on my editing. So I'll get caught up on those tomorrow.
All right. And I'm trying to think what else is going on. Wednesday, I don't know if I have anything going on with Birdman Wednesday, but Friday, who do you have on as a guest?
Friday, I just... you and me and Ned.
Oh, it's the big birthday stream. You may have random guests.
I don't know if I make it if I'd call it a big thing, but I'll probably drop the StreamYard link into the chat, so any of y'all that come on and want to just jump in and wish me a happy birthday, like in quotes, in person, you absolutely can. That's kind of become my birthday tradition over the past couple of years. So that's my plan for Friday.
And then Saturday, anything going on?
Saturday over on Netters Network, we will be doing a watch party of... What are we watching on Saturday?
Captain America.
Yes, Captain America, First Avenger, the best Marvel film.
Yes, cool. I'm more partial to the Iron Man movies, but...
I know, because you're crazy. And you're un-American, you bastard.
There's nothing more American. No, let's not go there. Nothing more.
There's nothing more American than capitalism. I know. Madanui's off for the night. No, we're winding down anyway. That's fine. I understand.
And that'll bring us back to this Sunday. Well, next Sunday.
David Pensek claims there is no Batman show tomorrow. So
okay. So
there we go.
All right. Well, good luck to Birdman. Like I said, I don't know if we're going to be doing anything this week or not, but keep an eye out. I'll tell you though, Birdman and I we should do a Dick Tracy rewatch at some point. That might be.
I'd love to see that. Yeah, I'd
You never did Roger Rabbit either. I was confused those two because they're both.
Please, Eddie, you just gotta help me.
Okay. Well, First Avenger is the best Marvel movie. Zootopia agrees with you. Okay.
Thank you. I agree.
I like Iron Man 3, but I know I'm in the minority because people yell at me about that.
I gotta say, the best part of that movie, I mean, it's a great movie, but the best part of that movie is the conversation between Steve Rogers and the doctor. He's like, "You want to kill Nazis? I don't want to kill anyone.
I don't like bullies."
Bullies.
Yeah. That's Steve Rogers. They got him down. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, man, that is so perfect. And let me tell you something. About that scene. I don't want to kill anyone. I just hate Nazis. That stands in stark contrast to punch a Nazi, bullshit that I'm hearing from the left. It's like, first, you don't even know what the fuck a Nazi is. Number two, fighting and punching and whatnot should not be your first instinct.
Well,
shut up, listen, and think first before you do anything else.
All the cat movies were great, yeah. The Geeky Geezers have outdone themselves tonight. Great show, thank you.
Oh, David, you are way too kind, and I am way too drunk for that kind of a compliment.
Do you know why Captain America Civil War is the best Captain America movie?
Why?
Because Iron Man's in it.
Oh, fuck that bullshit. I'll tell you what, no, my whole problem with that is it was at that point that these movies stopped being about the person that they were titled.
I know, and it became about
just fucking Avenger movies.
They kind of robbed Captain America of his third standalone movie. Yeah, I agree.
And they did the same thing to Thor and all of them, really.
Yeah, well, what can you do?
You make a Brie Larson movie, I guess.
Oh, well, she's not even getting her own movie with the Marvels because it's gonna be her and Ms.
Serves
Marvel.
her right. The fucking see you next Tuesday.
Anyways, on that note, y'all have a good night.
I actually will see you next Tuesday. Take care, everyone.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Have a good night.